Welcome to Life Unedited. I am your host, Tabitha Sweeney, and this is your lifestyle guide to living an unapologetic life that aligns solely with you. What's up, guys? All right. So, if you've been following along on my online dating, hashtag dating at 40. If you've been following along on that thread, I want to update you guys on a little bit. I'm hoping that this might be we might be nearing the end of this thread. Hashtag use, maybe? I don't know. Here's what we've got. I'm gonna try to keep this as concise and short as possible. So I have recently met someone. He is local. He is 45. He owns a house. He has a job. He is looking to start and make a new transition career-wise into an area of the world that I am extremely passionate about. He has a son who is a teenager. He is the exact opposite personality style of me in so many ways, and yet we are so much the same. He drives a Jeep, and it's a standard. And if you know me at all, like if you've been around, if you know me, the very first time I got into the Jeep, I must have had this like insanely stupid grin on my face, because as he sat down and he looked at me and he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't think you understand. This like a Wrangler has always been like my love. Like it has always been my dream car. Like people will be like, "What's your dream car?" And people like throw out these stupid cars, and I'm like, a Wrangler, a soft top Wrangler in the summer, top off, no doors on, like, oh, that has been my dream car since like as long as I can remember. And it's stick. I used to play a game back before I had kids, back before I was married, where in college I would throw my keys at somebody at the bar, and if they couldn't drive my car because my car was a stick, it was game over. They lost. Goodbye. And they'd be like, "But no, I don't want to hear it. If you can't drive my car, I don't want to hear it." Now I haven't driven a stick since my second child was born, because it's really hard to have two car seats and be passing French fries to the back and be trying to like shift, especially when you have a dog then in the front seat, right? Like it got complicated, and it seemed slightly unsafe. So I gave that up. But you guys, it was a Jeep. It was a Rubicon, and it was stick. And the next morning when I called my best friend from kindergarten and I told her, the next words out of her mouth were, "Keep your pants on," because she may or may not know me pretty well. And then the only thing I had left to say was, "Too late." But anyways, that's not what we're talking about, okay? Not what we're here to talk about. So I met this guy, and he is, you guys, he is fantastic, and he is incredible. And our relationship seems much deeper than others. And I'm not sure how much of it I'm ready to share. Like I'm not sure like how much I want to give away just yet, because I'm sort of enjoying just sitting in the middle of it, like just keeping it all to myself right now. But what's really interesting is the lessons that he's teaching me and the self-growth that I'm coming across by finally being with somebody who is strong enough and willing to understand that my past reactions don't really have anything to do with him. And that we all have insecurities, right? And so the reason I'm putting this in the dating at 40 hashtag is because here's what I want to say. Okay. This may be one where you want to have the kids leave the room, or, like, this is your warning now to hit pause if you need to come back and finish it later. Mom, you might want to get off, like, just saying. We had a really interesting conversation the other night. And since I started doing this online dating thing, there's a number of things I kind of come out of the door with at the guys to see their reaction, to get their answers to all of it. And one of those things is very heavily related to sex, right? And experiences and experimentation and what you want, what you like, what you're willing, what's a hard boundary in the no, like, right? And there's no right or wrong answers on any of this. But part of it is like, are you willing to talk about sex with me? Because I was tricked into believing that my ex-husband would, and that turned out to be a hard no. And, as we've said, the most vanilla of vanilla that's out there. Now, I think I told you in the last Dating at 40 that I had a friend, and we, she talked me into joining FetLife app. Like how I did that one? FetLife. Which, yes, fet is short for fetish, and it was filled with a whole bunch of BDSM. And I'm realizing as I'm saying this, this is ginger ale, for anyone curious. It's ginger ale. That's it, just ginger ale. But I realize as I'm saying this, the app, it was the wild, wild west, you guys. There was shit that I was learning that I was like, whoa, hold up. If anything happened to me and the police had to go through my Google and see what I was looking at, dear God, please don't tell my mother, because I had to Google everything. Here's what I learned. That lifestyle goes way, way, way beyond what I thought it did. Like, way far beyond. Yes, I am looking for something that is not just, fat-free vanilla yogurt, but that menu got into things. I was like, that's a thing. And I'm not shaming. Okay. So like, if you're into any of this, like, cool. There are people out there for you on this website. But there were so many things that I was like, I didn't know that was a thing, or that's farther than what I'm comfortable with, or I just don't understand this. Right. And so here's what I learned. I would never consider myself to be like a BDSM player. No. What I've learned is that there should be levels on these apps. That's what I learned. There should be levels. Like, level 1 is like, hi, I'm just here to learn a little bit more and like get some sort of experience that's outside of fat-free vanilla, and something between like French vanilla and like, cookies and cream. Okay. Like, just an experience in between there. And then like the next level would be like a little bit more serious, and like, these are my roles, this is what I do, this is what I'm into, this is, and very like defined. And then like a next level of like, this is my life, and this is the only things you may say or call me, and these are the types of games that I play. And they include some things that are very seem very unnatural to some people. We'll say it like that, because again, I'm not shaming. If you're into that, cool. Personally, it just doesn't call to me, but that's okay, right? So here's what I learned, you guys. There is there's all kinds of levels, and we should not be putting everybody into one app in one level to learn things. Mm-hmm. Also, where is like the learning app that's like, hey, interested in learning more? Click here, as opposed to just being thrown in and like having like your head is sort of like, whoa, wow, wow. Nobody should go from absolute fat-free vanilla to explosions. But in the process, I did meet somebody on the app who was, I don't remember if I told you this already or not, super awesome. And he was great because I could literally ask him anything and he would like answer without judgment. I met a lot of people in a lot of different lifestyles. I had a lot of incredible conversations that I would never have had if I wasn't on the app. And a lot of them just offered me different perspectives on things. Okay. One of the perspectives that I took away was from a couple, and they were looking for other people to play with. And as we were talking, and as I was asking them more questions, they're not local. And what was nice is in the app, I could literally reach out and say like, hey, you're not local, but listen, can I just like ask you some questions and just, can you just help me understand some things? And here's what I learned. They have been together for close to 20 years. For half of that time, they have been inviting other people into their bedroom. And I always thought that was a lifestyle that was like, I don't get it. And here's the thing. I still don't get all of it. Like I know people in open relationships. I personally do not think I could ever handle an open relationship. Let me rephrase that. There's no fucking way in hell I would ever be able to handle an open relationship. Let me just say it like that. It would not. I do not have a personality that could like handle that at all. But as I talked to this couple, what I learned was their relationship was so solid in all facets. And they were able to talk about things that other couples easily would have started screaming at. To be honest, so they got into this lifestyle because she had said in conversation that, you know, she hadn't been with a whole lot of people and she really wanted to experience being with somebody who was bigger than her husband. Now, her husband could have easily, like, that could easily have started a huge fight, right? Like, huge fight. I'm imagining how that would have gone over in my, yeah. And together, they decided to start exploring these opportunities. They went on to tell me about how the ways in which their trust has grown, the boundaries that they have, how the boundaries that they started with, you know, have changed over the years, but that their rules are very strict and that they are not up for discussion. So there's a level of trust there, and there's a level of respect there that, honestly, I'm going to be totally honest, you guys, I did not know anybody in a relationship like this, like that was even a thing. I'm be totally honest. I don't know what I thought, but they proved me wrong on everything I ever had thought about this lifestyle in this regard. Now, are there people who live the lifestyle the way I originally thought of it in my head? I'm sure that there are. And I'm sure there's more of those than there are like this. But it was so interesting to me as I started learning. And that moment, I realized that what I want is that level of openness, trust, and freedom in a partner. Not saying that it would be inviting other people into our relationship. Not what I'm saying. But that I want to feel comfortable enough and safe enough to say anything that I feel called to say, knowing that it's not going to just be an explosion. Knowing that it's not going to be this, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, no. And surprisingly, this new man that I've been speaking with, who I still have not told you his name yet, and I'm not going to just yet, but we'll get there. We can just call him Jeep for right now. Just Jeep. But what's incredible is I had actually told him that, like, that was my relationship goal. Like, to be at a point in a level where we have that amount of trust and freedom and we don't have to worry. And he just completely agreed, you know. And it's amazing because honestly, you guys, I wouldn't have even been able to get the first, like, half of a sentence out to Patrick before he would have been fucking screaming at me. Like, I know that up front. Like, I would not have been able to get even half of the sentence out before you've been like, are you fucking kidding me? Da, 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 da. So you just think that, no. And he would have been jumping to conclusions on what I'm saying to him. When the reality is, it has nothing to do with the lifestyle. It has to do with their trust and their commitment to each other. And I just thought that that was such a beautiful thing. I also think that while I needed to get off all apps, not just this one, but all of them, I also think that it was a really good reminder for us to start opening up the lines of communication on things we don't understand. Because everything about this app, everything about this lifestyle, what I went in thinking I might be interested in, what I learned is not like in the lifestyle. Like, it is. It is. And if you're wondering, like, what am I like thinking about? What it is, like the light end of, like, you know, being like restrained or tied up or something like that. Yeah. But like, please don't choke me till I pass out, and please don't like cut me for my blood, and please don't put a collar on me and ask me to be a dog or anything like that. Like I'm just, those are all like hard no's for me. So what I realized is, wow, this is taking a strange turn in this conversation that we're now having. What I learned is that like in the world of like fetish BDSM, the doms and the subs are like legit, and they may, like, a dom may have a sub, and that sub is just that's all they are. They're their sub, and like that is what it is always like. And the dom may have an actual like significant other somewhere else. I struggled with that because I was like, okay, well, like I like the idea of like playing like that, but also like I don't want that to be the only fucking thing we ever do. Like, no. So, okay. So now that you know all about where I stand on my sex life. But it has been really, really interesting and eye-opening. And what's cool about the apps is because everything is completely anonymous, and because you can talk to people who are like not local, you can reach out and you can just say like, hey, can we have a conversation? Like, I see that you're into this. Can you tell me more? And some of them are not going to, and some of them are going to give you answers that you're like, that's not what I was looking for. But even the guy from South Carolina who I was talking to, who I felt like I could ask anything to, and we had some really, really great conversations. He opened my eyes and taught me a lot of things. Even last week, I had to turn around and tell him, like, I can't talk to you anymore. I met somebody who I have met somebody who I no longer wish to have any other conversations about this with. And I want to make sure I'm giving this a fair trial. And his response was amazing and basically just said good luck, and and that was that. But it is, it was incredible to me to tap into this entire world that I knew nothing about. And I still have way more questions than answers, but I had to get off the app, you guys. I had to, because it was like things just were getting really intense, and for my own sanity, I needed to be done in off of that for a little while, because some of the conversations had gotten to a point where I was like, my brain needs to digest everything you just said to me. And that's it. And then some of the things that other people, reached out to me because they were interested in, I literally didn't even have words for, because I was like, no, that's just, yeah. So to say that it was an experience being on there, I learned a lot. It was a lot of fun. It does not make me feel the need to explore the world any further, although it's still a world I'm still super interested in learning more about it, like taking a shibari class and being able to open up and have conversations surrounding these topics, because they're so taboo and so many of us just like push them down, right? I don't feel like I need to explore the world anymore. And maybe part of that's just because I have somebody who's now willing to have conversations with me that nobody in the past has been willing to have with me. But anyways, the whole point of this episode, specifically this episode, was to tell you that I wanted you to know and understand how opening up to a world you don't understand and asking questions can shed so much light. And if we did more of that as a society, if we just asked more questions, if we just tried to understand, and that doesn't mean that you automatically jump on board, because believe me, I am not signing up for anyone to pee on me, okay? Because that's a thing, along with a lot of other things that I'm not signing up for. And while I can't understand wanting it, what I can understand is attempting to normalize it. And I say that in a way of, if no one is getting hurt and there are two consenting people and nobody is getting hurt and no one is forcing, or, to the key word, consent, right? There's consent all around. How different would the world be if we could talk about all of these things? How different would the world be if everybody in a polyamorous relationship was able to talk about it freely without being judged by those in a monogamous relationship? Now, what I learned is that polyamorous relationship works for a lot of people. There are a lot of people out there doing it. Cool. I know myself good enough to know that I would not be okay with it. I know myself good enough to know that I would be a raging, jealous, crazy person. Like, that's what I know. Not going to be okay with that. But think about that level of relationship. Dude, if you're in this poly relationship and you are having discussions and conversations and talking about it, there is a level of trust, and there's a level of beauty there that, like, a lot of other relationships and every other relationship, with the exception of the one that I am just entering now, have all missed. I've never been in a relationship with that level of open communication. Fuck, what's that like? So those are things I took away from this whole experience, you guys, and wow, it was a lot to think about. But yeah, I mean, when you sit down with the brand new guy that you're starting to date and you've agreed that there will be no other people, that it is just you, and then you say, but but the level of communication that I want is that this couple over here across the country has, and they're looking for a third person in their relationship. I want that level of communication between you and I without the third person. That makes sense. I mean, it took him a few minutes, but he did get there and he did say, okay. Oh, you guys, I can't wait to tell you about him more as time goes on. But for right now, like I said, I am going to just keep this I'm going to keep him just for me for a little bit longer. But so if the dating at 40 thread gets a little quiet, you can know why. And you can know that when I come back, I will come back with all things dating, hopefully with just this one person. Because it is a thread I still want to keep going for a while. But right now, I just want to finish getting to know him and getting ourselves out of the wildly unknown before I bring him all to you guys. All right. Have a fantastic day. Mwah!